On 24th February 2022, Russia launched a full-scale invasion of Ukraine. This is the largest act of war in Europe since World War II and is set to completely change the geopolitical landscape of Europe and the world. As of the recording of this video on 7th March 2022, the war has raged on for 11 days, claiming countless lives and leaving destruction in its wake as Russian forces advance on major cities like Kiev and Kharkiv. Here are 5 things you need to know about the war in Ukraine. Number 5. Russia and Ukraine's shared history. As geographical neighbors, Russia and Ukraine have a long shared history. Ukraine was a part of the Soviet Union before its dissolution in 1991, after which Ukraine regained its independence. Going even further back in history, most of Ukraine was absorbed into the Russian Empire after the Cossack era in the late 18th century. During this time, the Russian Empire attempted to suppress the Ukrainian language and culture in an attempt to assimilate Ukraine. Clearly, Russia's present desire to absorb Ukraine into the fold is nothing new, and you thought your neighbor was bad.
So long, neighbor.
Number 4. Ukraine's East-West divide. Since the dissolution of the Soviet Union, Ukraine has been split between whether to align itself with the EU and NATO in the West or Russia in the East. Despite the fact that NATO has not accepted Ukraine as a member, Putin nonetheless sees their Western ambitions as a threat and seeks to ensure that Ukraine never becomes a part of NATO. Ironically, the invasion appears to be uniting Ukrainians against Russia and pushing them closer to aligning themselves with the West. Number 3. We knew this was coming. While the Russian invasion of Ukraine may have come as a shock to many, this war has actually been years in the making. Way back in 2014, Russia annexed Crimea, which is a part of Ukraine. The lack of severe international backlash to this move emboldened Putin and served as a precursor to the 2022 invasion. Presently, Putin and the Kremlin are justifying the invasion as an effort to free the Ukrainian people from neo-Nazis, even though it could be argued that the threat of Russia itself is the primary factor behind the rise of nationalism in Ukraine. Furthermore, footage of Russian forces targeting civilian areas directly contradicts their stated mission. Number 2. Foreign aid. In response to Russia's brutal invasion, many countries around the world have united to support Ukraine and condemn Russia. Even historically neutral nations like Switzerland and Singapore have joined the global community in imposing sanctions on Russia. Although direct military intervention from NATO has been all but ruled out, many countries are providing aid to Ukraine in the form of weapons, ammunition, and other essential supplies. For example, in order to counter Russia's overwhelming armor and aerial advantage, NATO countries have provided Ukraine with highly advanced anti-tank and anti-aircraft systems, which have reportedly been utilized to great effect. Furthermore, many people from around the world have responded to Ukraine's call for volunteers to join their newly formed Foreign Legion.
They look like they need help. We're young, strong, fit men, we can help, so why not?
Number 1. Ukrainian Resistance. If Putin believed that the Ukrainians would simply welcome Russian forces or roll over and surrender, he is being proven very wrong. From civilians making Molotov cocktails to Ukrainian soldiers destroying entire Russian tank columns with javelin launchers, reports from Ukraine paint the picture of a nation fervently defending its sovereignty. While this might be the result of Western propaganda, the footage that has been coming out of Ukraine speaks for itself. The Russian military dwarfs Ukraine's in terms of size and power, but their soldiers are facing the challenge of fighting in a foreign land against defenders who are motivated to protect their home.
Yes! Yes, блядь! Два!
One major reason for Ukraine's continued defiance and determination is President Volodymyr Zelensky, who refused to leave Ukraine for his own safety and famously rejected an evacuation offer from the US, saying, "I need ammunition, not a riot." Okay, Rambo, calm down. However, even with all the efforts of the Ukrainian people and the international community, it is likely that Russia will ultimately achieve a Pyrrhic victory. How much that victory will cost Putin in the years to come remains to be seen.
Кто бы ни пытался помешать нам, а тем более создать угрозы для нашей страны, для нашего народа, должны знать, что ответ России будет незамедлительным. и приведет вас к таким последствиям, с которыми вы в своей истории еще никогда не сталкивались.
If you would like to help the Ukrainian people in this difficult time, do consider donating to organizations like the Ukrainian Red Cross.